Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live on the Web3 Network. Handy dandy NFT Live coming at you, talking about the NFT and Web3 space. Marty just retired from the NFT space, so we're going to have to get to that in just a second. But I'm going to talk to my good friend Gifted here. This is the last show of the week, of course. It's Thursday. We got shit to do on Friday. And, of course, we like to touch grass on some weekends. You should, too. Gifted and his oat milk. Unfortunately. What's up, brother? Oh, he's muted.
We got the this is the matcha protein, actually. That's what we're rocking.
Matcha protein. Well, I like to see it. Prodigy, Marty McFly, Diggs, Asmodee, Squash. Everybody's joining pretty early here on today's episode. We have a lot to get to end the episode. It feels like there's some bear market vibes. Like the token prices are down. Not as much news is happening, but there are some really interesting stories that we'll get to, including covering up on 12-fold.
Is it Gabe's fault? Is it Gabe's fault? Did he kill the run?
That was it.
Was it that performance in East Denver?
In East Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That listen, we're getting that post Eat Denver dip. That's what they would call it. We also have like a lot of news regarding like the broader kind of just social space, cultural space. We got Joe Rogan talking about NFTs. I don't know. Did you see this clip?
I think I did see a clip like a week or two ago. Is it a different clip?
Your boy CoffeeZilla got interviewed by Joe Rogan, and Rogan had some interesting things to say.
I saw a little bit about this. I didn't watch the whole podcast. All I saw was the part where they were talking about Crypto Zoo.
Yeah, there's Crypto Zoo, and then more has come out now where Rogan essentially is asking like, oh, no, what the hell are NFTs? Why these are all scams? I could take a screenshot. There's a lot of bullshit to uncover.
Oh God, FUD incoming from everywhere.
All right, so okay, I said Rogan NFTs. We'll get to that really quick. Coinbase commercials. We touched on Illuvatars yesterday. Illuvium had a pretty good sale. They netted some millies, which is nice to see in a bear. We'll touch on Ordinals. Otherside is going to have another drop, so Marty's going to miss that, unfortunately. But hopefully he'll be back by the third trip.
I like that we have competing takes already in the chat here. Squashman and Marty sitting on either side of the CoffeeZilla interview. Marty saying it was weak. Squashman saying it was solid. So I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in between.
So, guys, we just pressed live. We will touch on that CoffeeZilla interview. Well, first of all, like one of the better individuals like to follow in the space. I think we've touted him multiple times. He called out Logan Paul. And a bunch of those guys. If you're sitting here on Twitter, if you're listening to us afterwards on Spotify, if you are on Twitch or YouTube, we appreciate y'all so much. Our vibe, our tribe. Please leave a like. If I'm gonna drop the link here. Here's what I'm gonna do. ApeCoin's down. I don't know if you've seen that, Gifted.
I've been trying not to look, man.
ApeCoin's down. The whole market's down. We can do it.
How down is it right now? Do you want to hurt me? All right. Let's lead with the bad news.
It has not dropped below $4. That's the thing.
That's something.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're watching ourselves talk about how ApeCoin sucks.
So fucking meta.
Yo, on this tweet, on this tweet here, where you have the live show on Twitter, which a lot of people like to watch while we're here. Leave a comment. Tell us what community topic you want to hit for this Thursday, and I will get you some ApeCoin. I think it's gonna be $20, $25 in ApeCoin. Which right now is like a zillion ApeCoin because we're down to like sub 4 almost. But yeah, leave a like. I just dropped that tweet in the chat. If you can get there, leave a like and a comment, and we will pick one comment, which will be the community topic for the day, which we'll cover. Do you want to hit this Joe Rogan stuff like right off the bat, or
why not? Yeah, why not? It's the NFT news is relatively slow right now. What do we got to lose?
Okay. All right, hit him with the disclaimer because we don't want to be sued in this environment.
You keep doing this to me. You got to give me a moment to pull it up. I'm never prepared. All right,
okay.
Let me pull it up.
I got you. Okay, I'm gonna skip around here. We're gonna watch the Coinbase commercial, which was really dope. So I don't know if this is like hitting national airwaves. I don't know if y'all have seen this yet, but it's a pretty dope commercial here from Coinbase. So let's watch this. Let me make sure I'm unmuted. And I'll see you afterwards.
What is this archaic system?
Mother's maiden name? Leibowitz?
You're telling me this guy is how things get verified.
That's my job.
I'm just saying, you shouldn't have to buy $10 worth of gum if you just want 79 cents worth of gum. Why do you get charged your money to take your money from your account? And if you're out of money, they charge you for being out of money?
What?
An overseas transfer takes 5 days?
Business days.
Why?
What are they using? A Zeppelin?
I deposit the check Monday.
But Monday was a bank holiday.
Why is this the way it is?
A bank holiday?
This system
What's a bank holiday?
makes no sense.
This makes no sense.
Who designed this system?
Ma'am?
Is this really the best we can do?
Hello?
Don't we deserve better?
Okay, Coinbase.
I actually
I
love
see
this.
you, Coinbase.
I actually love this. I really do. Because we need more people to start standing up and pointing out the inefficiencies in our existing systems. Like our banking and financial system doesn't make sense. Just like our insurance doesn't fucking make sense. It doesn't work for the normal people. Like, what the fuck are they like? I really like that they point out the idea of getting charged money because you don't have enough money is so fucked up, and we just accept it. Like the concept of a convenience fee is the most inconvenient thing in the world, but they just charge you extra fees, and they call it a convenience fee, or they charge you money every month just to have a fucking account with them. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many inefficiencies and so much bullshit that we just put up with in the existing systems, and it makes me so happy to see somebody taking it down, doing a takedown of the nonsense.
Yeah.
I want to see more of this type of shit from like leaders in the space starting to call out bullshit.
Yeah, this trailer is interestingly timed, right? Because they just announced Coinbase Base, which is their protocol that is going to essentially be a layer where dApps can live, right? Like that's their ecosystem where dApps are going to be created and connected into, I'm assuming, seamlessly into Coinbase Exchange, which you could look at as this move into a Web3 banking ecosystem, all that stuff. So interesting time to come out with this trailer as Base gets off the ground. Maybe they had that plan, maybe they didn't. Maybe this trailer was a long time coming, but yeah, I love the inefficiencies they point out. Of course, everyone feels the pain points when they have to walk into a bank. That shit you just walk in and you're like, I'm moving in molasses. What? I can't receive my money till next week, even though you have it. I see it on the screen. I can't get it. I'm cashing my check now, and somehow.
And they were talking about the costs, not just the like resource costs and the expense of like transferring money around the world.
Yeah.
But the time costs of like it taking days or weeks sometimes to like just move your funds somewhere. There's zero reason why that has to still be the case, but we're using antiquated systems. And there's a bunch of middlemen that are all taking cuts along the way. And this is exactly what it's pointing out. And so, shout out Coinbase for this. I think it's a great ad, and I love it. I want to see more of it. But let's hit the disclaimer real quick. So, as is always the case, this is not financial advice, and information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team, and all information is public domain. So please DYOR or do your own research, because we are not financial advisors. We are just talking about cool shit that we like, and that's what we do.
You're not a financial advisor yet?
I don't plan to be, man. Never have been, never will be, as far as I can think.
Okay.
As far as I can see.
All right, so listen, I've got this Rogan interview. I wanted to get like the clip where he's talking about it specifically. I think I have it on my profile. There's also a 5-minute kind of snippet that we can pull from. So let's try that. So this is from Mike 3. Full clip of CoffeeZilla and JRE explaining the value of NFTs in context of art and gaming, and how marketers and opportunists using celebrities and hype to scam people does a great disservice to digital artists and creators by delegitimizing the entire space. Wow, What a fucking quote. I can't wait to actually like hear this. Let's see. Let me know if you hear this.
Yeah, so Beeple made that little GigaChat thing for us. It's a piece of digital artwork.
Yeah.
And, you know, he has an actual museum of digital art.
Right.
And if you buy a piece from him, you actually get a physical piece of digital art. There's something there.
Yeah.
I get it. Makes sense. I like the ape yacht club, whatever the fuck that is.
Bro.
Like what?
Okay, first of all, I will say it's wild to me. I was listening to at least the snippet, which I think it's going to come to here in a second. How can Joe Rogan not know about Bored Ape Yacht Club at this point?
Well, he does. He does, though. That's why he literally just brought it up unprompted.
But he doesn't, though. It was like the type of thing that you like hear about in passing. Like he doesn't actually know what's going on. He's like this.
But
bored,
that's most people. Most people know that there's these silly ape JPEGs called something ape or yacht something. That's what they don't spend the time to like get it right. But he knows about
Joe,
it.
It's Joe. He does a good job trying.
Listen,
I was a
yeah.
I was a follower of Joe Rogan back in the day. I thought he did a great job of like being open to new concepts. He's had Andreas Antonopoulos on to talk about Bitcoin before, to Squashman's point. But yeah, go ahead. Do you want me to play it, or you got something there?
No, let's roll the tape.
What's going on here? Like I have a friend of mine who's an artist who made over $1 million on NFTs, and I'm like, what did you do? And like, he talks to me for 10 minutes, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you just said.
Yep. So let me start by saying,
It's my first time seeing CoffeeZilla.
I work with a super talented digital artist. So he does a lot of my set stuff. So I have a lot of respect for, you know, the challenge of a lot of digital artists as opposed to physical artists is like, if you're a painter, you sell your paintings.
Right.
If you're a digital artist, how do you print it out? Like, what do you do?
I love that he's going like this super antiquated. I have to break this up so we don't get copyrighted or whatever, but I love that he's going like the super antiquated, like very basic route. You can tell he's an educator. The one thing I'll say back to Rogan as well is like somebody in the 1800s or early 1900s, maybe even mid 1900s would say to him, you just sit there and you talk to people and you make millions of dollars? What do you do?
That's a great point.
You just sit there? Like,
yeah, turn the mirror on the ridiculousness of your life, Joe Rogan. Like, you became the biggest broadcaster in history, just sitting in a room in front of a fucking microphone, making millions of dollars. You know, he's a digital creator himself.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So NFTs were sort of originally it was like this is for artists. Like this is a way for a digital artist now to legitimately sell scarcity in their work, which previously they had no way of doing.
Okay, that
you still can take a screenshot, but
hold on, that's not even. I get where he's going. That's not even true. Like the first NFTs that popped off were what, PFPs, then gaming popped up with Axie Infinity in like 2018. Like this is so that's not even true.
CoffeeZilla is first and foremost. I have said a million times and will say again, I think CoffeeZilla is one of the most important voices of our generation. So let me caveat anything that I'm about to say by saying I really, really appreciate what CoffeeZilla does from an investigative journalism standpoint. That said, he is not from NFTs. Like he is outside of NFTs commenting and looking in. He doesn't really care or like NFTs from what I can tell. So it's like, you know, he's going to do his best to explain it. He's going to leave some stuff out. But he's somebody who's like decently educated, coming at it from an outsider's perspective, not somebody who's deep into it, who really likes it. So just know that, like, however he's explaining it with like a little bit more information than the normal person, but not somebody who's like deep into it like us.
This show is not financial advice, but the show is sponsored by Yuga, Coinbase, Starbucks, and Jeffrey the Giraffe. Dude, Squash coming through with some good stuff. That's not true.
That's not true. That Toys R Us money, that check has not come through.
It hasn't. Well, we tried to cash it, and then we went to the bank, and I called Jeffrey. He's on the run.
Actually, Solana was down, and so
that's true. That's the excuse he gave. Squash is also saying. Let me. Prodigy was saying that was me when Q first started talking to me about Web3. We had like a 30-minute chat, and I'm like, huh, what the hell did you just say? Squash also saying, not that we need him, but Joe Rogan will come around now on Bitcoin. Brian Redband got him thinking about the metaverse, and Jamie owns a mutant. Always wearing a BT or BAYC hat. That's dope. What's up, Quasar? We see you. All right, let's jump back in.
You don't own the NFT that like sort of the digital artist has sort of provisioned, like this is the thing that matters. So I have a lot of like in that way, in that one way, I get it. I get why people wanted it to be, you know, to become the next big thing. The problem is it was quickly taken over as an investment vehicle. Now it's like everybody's an art dealer. And now everybody's an art expert, and now we're trying to make a buck, right? And that anytime you get art involved with money, things get weird. But especially when you get art involved with quick flips and returns, and now we're gonna all make money from this. That's when things get really weird. So like, I feel bad sort of for digital artists, legit work for like money with Jimmy Fallon's getting involved, and then all these like mainstream celebrities, you know,
I want to get to a
start
screenshot
promoting
comment.
bought by this company called MoonPay, who is trying art. It doesn't actually appear to be.
I just don't understand how it worked. I don't understand how anybody looked at it and went, "This is logical. I'm going to buy that."
So think about it. So think about it this way, though. So I'm sure you played a bunch of games, video games, right? Have you ever played a video game where like they have like in-game, you know, skins and like different like outfits?
Okay, before they get on, like Yuga could have launched, and they had. If you listen to a fucking metaverse, which was the two guys, Gordon and Gargas, their podcast, they were talking about things that they were thinking about creating before Bored Apes. It was like hot dog condiments. Like it literally, I forgot what the name was, but they like went into detail how like before the apes came about, it was hot dog condiments, and like there were the PFP was going to be a hot dog. People get caught up on like the actual image of the ape, and I think to Marty's point, and he makes a good one when we talk about this, like the guys don't necessarily like they probably like CryptoPunk art more than they like the Bored Ape art. They could have launched a cartoon picture of a crocodile screwing a monkey, and like it doesn't matter what the image was. It's about the association with the company who's creating the value. Like I always make the Apple reference when I talk about NFTs. Like if Apple launched an NFT, it could be a picture of an apple, and that apple got you every iPhone release up to now, and you spent like initially you spent $100. There was a limited supply of these like membership cards, and Steve Jobs was like, I need money. Let me launch these $100 Apple cards, and they'll get you all this value. Free iPhones when they release, access to Apple events, all of these different things. It gets conflated, I think. This idea that like we're focusing on the monkey in the picture.
Well, yeah. I mean, the simple way that I always talk about this, when I'm trying to explain it to people, is that I try and remind or like communicate the idea that like everybody's focused on the superficial top layer of like the silly cartoons or the big headlines and the prices, but it's actually about this new technology, right? It's about the utility and specifically this new era of internet technology that's being developed and like what comes with that. And so I always try and bring it back to the fact that like this is actually like more than, you know, they're talking a lot about the art, but like you're not collecting Bored Apes for the art, which is what you're saying. It's about being part of this this tech, this underlying asset, this token. So I always try and like bring people back to the tech side of it when they get lost in the sauce a little bit, talking about like, why would anybody buy a monkey JPEG? It's like that's just the metadata. That's not the important part.
So here's the time. We were going to talk about ordinals later, but let's just do it. We're going to get to the bag check at some point. We've got some drops that I want to hit on, Gitcoin being one of them, but like ordinals is along that same time frame. You could make the debate, and I want to hear what y'all have to say in chat, that people were buying this Yuga drop, this 12-fold drop, because of Yuga, not because of, you know, using the analogy of the ape. They're not buying it because the ape looks cool. They're buying it because it's a fucking dope company. And you know, all these conflated concepts, man, get put together in NFTs. One being that like it's not about the Bored Ape art.
Yeah.
It could have been another thing.
Quick, before we go headlong into 12-fold and everything that means, just on the CoffeeZilla front, because like Marty's making some interesting points over here. He says the CoffeeZilla also calls Bored Apes a scam too.
I would love to hear that.
I think that like the one issue that I see with, him and people that like come at this from outside the space that don't want to really participate or understand it is they'll just blanket everything the same. It's like, yes, like why can't you hold two thoughts, right? Like, why can't you hold two thoughts? And what I mean is that, like, yes, there are a lot of scams. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of opportunity for fraud and people, like shitty people in the space, while also there's a lot of legitimate builders, people creating cool functionality and value and products in this new space with this new technology. Why can't you hold those two thoughts simultaneously instead of just being like, oh, well, there's scams, so everything in the space must be scams. Everybody there must be, and it's particularly shitty to have that view when he comes at it initially from this like, hey, I work with these talented artists. I understand the value that it can have, but fuck all that. It's just a big scam. Like that doesn't really follow to me. And it feels kind of, I don't know, man. It's very one-sided, right? It's just like, why can't you hold both the thoughts that like, yes, while there is issues, while things aren't perfect and there are scams, there's also actual real shit being built here. There are some real people, some real projects, and some real value there. So I don't know. I wish that there was a little bit more nuance in a lot of these types of arguments, and that people weren't so quick to just blanket, again, a space that is actually about the underlying technology, not just about the fucking superficial metadata JPEGs.
I do think that there was like, let's say again, we have the quotes here from CoffeeZilla. We're sitting here listening to the interview. There is an argument to be made about how Bored Apes came about, in the sense of like it. When you're talking about MoonPay, when you're talking about things like MoonPay, there is a legitimate concern and in an argument that MoonPay was a major reason why Bored Apes are where they are today, and that's not necessarily from organic.
That's influencer marketing.
True.
That's what that is. This is this is what gets
influencer marketing with like almost $500,000 assets. It's a little bit shady. Like if you're doing that with like 5,000, 10,000, I know I'm drawing a weird line, but I think that's where people get upset, is like, you're doing this with like house level assets. You know what I mean? It can get a little bit ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And also, again, if you can hold two thoughts at the same time, so many other industries use influencer marketing and celebrity endorsements to market their wares. So like, you can find ways to paint anything that happens here as like the worst thing in the world and being evil, or you can just say like, hey, they were trying to find ways to appeal, build a brand, build an IP, and appeal to a more of a mainstream crowd. And they went through influencer marketing and celebrity endorsements channels like so many other industries and products have. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And I think quantum variant's making a good point about the timeline too. It's not like Bored Apes blew up specifically because of MoonPay. They were already blowing up when they started to actually do that marketing. Like they'd already taken off to a pretty big place.
Yeah. The story with Pranksy and Jimmy as well, like that's not necessarily negative. Like I'm not painting that as a negative, but they hit on like a couple checkpoints that you need to get where they're at today. Like you have Pranksy and Jimmy like absolutely basically leading to the sellout of your project earlier, and then you have MoonPay coming in and taking you to the next level. Look, the Bored Ape Yacht Club conspiracy shit we're not going to get into. Marty, you should honestly like have your own like podcast journalism or blog journalism, and I would be 100% partaker in that.
Marty Zilla, where you at?
All right, there's a minute left in this. I want to see if there's anything left, from a quotable standpoint. I think they obviously had a longer conversation, but this is what apparently is like the biggest clip from it. So the last part of it.
Sure.
So tons of businesses have been built, like the entire free-to-play model of Fortnite. Fortnite makes millions and millions and millions of dollars. Their whole model is built on skins and like different like in-game purchasable items.
Right.
You don't actually own anything. Ultimately, it just lives and dies with your computer. NFTs are sort of like, I guess the idea with NFT gaming or whatever is like, well, you would actually own it. Like the game couldn't take it away from you. You'd have some piece of art that you'd have some ownership of that would matter. Again, I think the challenge is just like where greed and like marketers get involved. They just sort of like ruin everything with scams and fraud to where it's very tempting. And I get the temptation to just throw everything out and go, it's all just a fraud, right? Because you see so much of it, and so much of it is just like kind of people trying to scam you basically for, and use especially celebrity likenesses to scam people.
Yeah, not gonna get it. I love the comments coming through. By the way, guys, the ICO phase was the same thing. You had a decentralized Kickstarter that the first couple projects were really dope. Ethereum was an ICO. Like you were able to fund the Ethereum Foundation, which created a lot of what we're doing today via a decentralized network where you're able to do funding from everybody in the world, no KYC, no nothing. And then guess what? It was taken over by people, even with projects that were using celebrities to push ICOs. It became a honeypot. So like these cool ideas start to become a honeypot, and then you get the same thing happening over and over. Highly recommend people listen to Bobby Hundreds on Leap Spaces last night, a 1-hour space. Talks about influencer marketing, how streetwear was considered a scam, weird NFT valuations, Joe Rogan calling us weirdos. He did also say that. He did say that NFT people are weirdos, which I could get behind.
There's plenty of weirdos in the space, and I guess we are a few of them. I mean, and to Marty's question, like, no, I don't know anything about the founders beyond like just some peripheral
his dad died or something
info.
Yeah,
I don't. So again, to Q's point, Marty Zilla, let's get that show going, and let's have a back and forth there where we can like dig into what you're researching, because man.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
I mean, having that information available would be sick to like look into, and sources that you use and things like that. Last clip here, 13 seconds. This is the clip that I initially saw, which like led me to be like, fuck, man. I thought Joe Rogan was one of us. Not one of us, but like could kind of.
There's no way Joe Rogan's one of us.
No, but to Felipe's point earlier, Joe Rogan doesn't understand the NFTs, but he's all about dead ass conspiracies. Like he'll believe that literally like John F. Kennedy was from Mars. And Bigfoot's his cousin, and they all are running a cabal. Like he'll believe that, but he won't believe in NFTs. Look at this shit.
Like, why would anybody buy an NFT? Like, it's a non-fungible token, and then you put it in a NFT wallet, and you have this thing. I'm like, but I have the same thing on my phone. I can take a screenshot of that.
Yeah. Come on, Joe. Having a screenshot is just not the same thing as owning a token, but you know what? We'll save that for another day, maybe.
That's
right click. Hey,
it's
Joe's
so
right click saver. He's a right click saver. And
I thought he was beyond like that level of comprehension of what we're doing. Joe Rogan doesn't trust anything. I guess that's a fair.
Well, you would think, especially if Jamie has a mutant, that he'd be able to articulate why right click saving isn't the same
It's
thing.
really about fucking Jamie. Jamie, you're doing a shit
Come on,
job
Jamie.
explaining your
where are you at?
Space, man.
Help us out.
You're wearing a BAYC hat. He's still thinking about right click saving. Come on. Okay. Real quick, I want to get to two quick stories. Gif, if you have any quick pieces as well, let me know.
Starbucks Odyssey, man.
Yeah, hit me with the link.
That up. I can pull that. Well, I can pull it up real quick. Let me find this. Here we go.
Okay, I'm I'm covering real quick the Illuvitar sale. Illuvitar Megadisc sold out, so 20,000 of these were bought at 0.124 ETH. I believe, and I might have been doing the math wrong, but I think they raised like $3-4 million here. I might.
Right, it's got to be quite a bit because they sold a lot of NFTs.
Yeah, so there's 80,000 remaining of the standard discs, but there's the mega discs, which contain that rare Illuvitar, right? It sold out completely at 20,000 supply. So yeah, big shout out to Kieran. I'd love to have Aaron or Kieran on the channel to kind of update us there. But you're selling out a 20,000 drop, right? It's not a bad thing at all. So
they've sold over 100,000 total NFTs. So far,
I think you might be reading that.
No, they've sold 83,000 of the others.
Remaining.
They sold 20,000.
Remaining. 83,000 remaining.
Okay. Maybe I am totally misreading that.
It's like look at what it says here. Is this? I think it says 83,000 remaining.
Okay. Maybe you're right. So they sold close to 40,000, a little bit less than 40,000 then.
I think so. I think that's the right one. Yeah.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
all right. So we'll follow up. I didn't buy. I think GIF, you were looking into it. This is on the immutable chain.
Well, this is the thing, right? The supply is really high, and I'm sure that the mega discs are where most of the value is going to be. So it's like it's a little bit less than $40. It's only about $40, with gas. Is it worth putting $40 in just to be in this first wave? That's kind of what I'm looking at. Like, it might be cool just to be in the first wave, just to have one of them. Do I expect though that those normal discs are going to have anything super interesting that like retains a lot of value or goes up? Probably not. That's not why I would get into it. Really, I would get into it just to be part of it, and who knows? You know what I mean? So it's that's I don't know. So I see it as like, look, it's a $40 quote unquote investment to be part of this game and be part of wave one. And who knows, maybe just having a wave one NFT that you minted might get you additional perks or incentives or, value in the future. So that's maybe the reason why you might want to do it, but you don't know. It just might be $40 that is, gets you into a game that maybe you enjoy, maybe you don't.
Okay, so we're going to look at Starbucks here. Asmodai is finishing up the last conversation we had about Rogan not understanding NFTs, saying, I thought the gaming play to own was easier to understand, but the general public, I guess, doesn't understand the CSGO skins as well. Gamers had a huge, I'm wearing my 100 Thieves. Yeah, shout out to 100 Thieves. Doesn't feel like we're going to win the LCS this year, even though we made a big change to our roster on the League of Legends side. But yeah, gamers are super negative, man. They're getting fed bullshit that you just heard Rogan talk about. So
it is wild that more gamers haven't sort of put together the value prop yet for them. But I know it's going to happen eventually. It will happen. Like, gamers eventually will understand and I feel there's a great analogy here, I think, between what's happening right now with Bitcoin ordinals and I think gamers, right? Because if you think of most of the gaming industry and the sort of toxic negativity towards NFTs as like maybe the way that a lot of Bitcoiners or traditional crypto people or maxis have thought about NFTs, and then all of a sudden when there's a certain application or use case that they like, now a lot of them are kind of coming around and saying, oh, this is kind of interesting. Oh, it's kind of cool. All of a sudden, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a certain game, a certain application, a certain use case that they like. And all of a sudden, a lot of them are going to be like, maybe this NFT thing isn't so bad. But until that thing kind of happens, they'll just be in their own world talking shit, not really knowing what they're talking about. And that's fine. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. We'll touch on Starbucks here in just a second. I agree completely. You need to have like good use case. Totally understand that. All right, let's hit on it. I do have one more MetaMask piece as well, and then we'll get to the majority of stories. But what do we got update on the Starbucks Odyssey side?
Yeah, this is their first like exclusive limited edition stamp. So let me go ahead and scroll through this real quick. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. PST, they will be dropping a 2000 limited edition stamp and limited to 2 per wallet. And look, we've been showing the beta. I got into the beta early, but I've been kind of sleeping on it. I haven't really done any of the mints yet, and I've been kicking myself about that, honestly, because they're doing okay. And so I'm reminding myself I need to go do this, try and get in on this, and spend more time in the Odyssey that is Starbucks Odyssey, because who knows, man? Maybe this is the thing that like makes stamp collecting come back in a new way. Digital stamps through Starbucks Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yep. This might be a really interesting thing, because also if you stamp collecting
today, GIF.
It's today. Fuck me. There you go. Look, I'm already all right. So that's happening literally in 1 hour. Then, yeah, that is today. See, look, I'm halfway there. Appreciate you calling me out on that. So literally in 1 hour. Thank you, Squash. I would have been like showing up tomorrow and missing out. See, I've been sleeping on this too hard. So here's an interesting, just I guess, point. And that's that like stamp collecting actually was a big thing. My grandma has we literally have like books of stamps that she collected. We don't know what to do with them now. Like literally, like my family is trying to figure out, like, they're not worth that much. They're maybe worth maybe there's like $500 to $1,000 or something in there. You know what I mean? It's not worth that much, but it was a big thing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people got really into it for, maybe again, that was like in the 50s, 60s, 70s. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know when exactly, but there was an era when collecting stamps was a thing that a lot of people did. Who knows, man? Maybe this could be a sort of fun, low investment way that more people start to get into collecting NFTs. And it might be really popular. It might have a moment. Maybe there's a time over the next 10 to 20 years when collecting POAPs and digital stamps takes on a giant life of its own, and Starbucks might be at the front of that. So I don't know, man. I just think it's interesting to try and contextualize the concept of like stamp collecting here and what Starbucks is doing with like the fact that like stamp collecting was a big deal at one point. And it's been kind of dead.
Should we get into that?
It hasn't. Yeah.
Should we just do like a stamp collection show?
Well, that's kind of I think maybe what I'm trying to say is that's kind of what we're doing with POAPs and a lot of these NFTs. In a way, it is like stamp collecting. I think it's kind of just like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm pulling up the last piece here as well. Oftentimes I'm like pulling things around, and I think to the comment previous to Starbucks about like the gaming side, it's like I think we're dealing with having not enough Aavegotchi based like founders. And what I mean by that is like those guys have really cool fundamental values and it comes out in their project. Maybe it doesn't pop off because their token doesn't go 100x, but we had way more Axie Infinity-esque projects than Aavegotchi-esque projects, and we're paying for that. Like that's why people hate NFTs, because they're like, this is just a scam that goes up 100x and it's super financially based and all this stuff. We're paying for that, and that's why I rip Axie Infinity a bunch, is because they, without a doubt, knew what they were doing, using that narrative to their utmost to drive up everything about their ecosystem. And shout out to Aavegotchi, always Gotchi gang.
Hashtag Gotcha Game. What we should check in and follow up on what's going on with the ghost token and all that. It's definitely down today, like probably everything. But I know, again, they're like removing the bonding curve. That's an interesting thing, right? So it's going to be more volatile. Who knows what that can mean? could mean a lot of things. But very interested to kind of follow up with them and see how that goes.
Justin Casey, we see you in chat as well. What's up? And then, I think people are doing like a sell off of that news, right? Like the bonding curve was this time to like the bonding curve getting removed was the time to buy in. I think there's a little bit of a sell off, and you're right. Overall markets
selling the news.
not as good. Hey, real quick, I wanted to show y'all this. We've been talking about MetaMask for a long time. They're the number one wallet to this guy's point.
It's your favorite platform. Your favorite.
James Tolan is saying number one wallet in crypto. I think he's right, and this is a good thread. He put together a Dune dashboard for MetaMask. The highlight here is that since 2020, they've generated $240 million in fees. This isn't volume. This is fees that they're collecting as revenue. And that mostly comes from Uniswap. 18.3 billion is coming from Uniswap there. They're down approximately 90% on like a weekly high. I think the October 21. So like almost around that Bitcoin
this is always
high price.
This is always an interesting sort of the way that we talk about this, like down from the high. Shouldn't we be comparing to like an average?
No, because what you're looking at is like a lot of these companies base their like valuations. Like for example, Coinbase raised at a certain valuation based on the amount that they were pulling in volume at that time. Do you see what I mean? And that was a high at the time. So like a lot of times people use that as a reference to set a valuation, if that makes sense. That might not be something that
I do get what you're saying. I think it doesn't really make sense both ways is what I'm saying. I'm saying like, shouldn't we be more focused on like, hey, across the last year, the average daily volume or monthly volume is X, and how are we comparing to that? You know what I mean? I don't know. That to me seems to make a lot more sense than, because it's so extreme to say like, hey, on our highest day, we were here, and right now we're way down here. So it's like, look at that crazy 90% difference. But if we looked at the average, we're only like 40% or 30% or 50%.
That's fair. You can look at a 30-day average. I think they do use like weekly average prices to not have like a variation within a day, right? But at the same time, you're still going to see a good I think that's a good point. You could use a 30-day average rather than using a daily average to say, hey, this day it went up to X amount. Maybe it was something fucking wild. Instead, using an average would make sense.
I like that Squashman is into the Starbucks Odyssey too. That's pretty cool. I'm glad that there's a lot of people that are following that and like getting into it. That actually makes me really happy. I think it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is going to mirror the space, right? It's cool to visually see it. I think this is MetaMask again, their swap feature, and you can just see that they're feeling the same way Coinbase is, and the same way OpenSea is, and all these things. It's down clearly, but I think it's dope to see it in a visualized form, and the fact that they're pulling in $240 million fucking dollars in revenue. It's like, what's it like? Obviously,
what did you think it was? I mean, before you saw this, what would you have guessed?
So that's 120. When did it launch? 2021, or it launched 2020? There was basically no volume in 2020 when it first launched, and then you see as 2021. So like this is middle NFT boom, late NFT boom in 21. This is where Bitcoin hit all-time highs. Not that much. Maybe 100. I mean, I don't know what it was supposed to be. 240 million sounds like a fuck ton.
It's almost a quarter bill, but I guess this is probably what I would have expected. I would have honestly thought maybe it was even higher, because the sheer amount of transaction volume and the amount of fees that something like this gets to suck up is just so much. So I don't know. I guess I'm just not as surprised as you are.
Yeah. Surprised with 240 million they couldn't do more, but yeah,
maybe that's
you think the app would like look different and have a bunch of different features and all that stuff. But I'm gonna get off this horse before I beat it to fucking death. Donar saying 90s comedian on the viability of the early web. It's all hype. I've been on the internet. There's 12 people on there. Joe Rogan will eventually keep up. Justin Case is saying 240 mil. That is wild. I mean, I want to see the revenue producing as outside of, I mean, this is an exchange though. Basically, that's it. The rule in crypto is like exchanges are going to make money. Exchanges pull in the most revenue because no matter what, they're getting money. You're buying, selling, trading, they're making money.
You know, I feel like another good clip to pull up and talk about, since we're doing this sort of like reacting to the pundits, you know, talking about the Web3 space, would be Prof G, Professor Galloway, Scott Galloway, recently was talking a lot about meta and the metaverse. And he thinks that Facebook's focus on the metaverse is a complete loss and waste of time, that it's like a hallucination of Mark Zuckerberg's, and that they should basically just entirely stop funding the development of anything metaverse. And, you know, to Donar's comment here about the 90s comedian on the viability of the early web, you know, cracking jokes and making commentary about it's all hype. I've been on the internet. There's 12 people on there. At that time, if you were trying to just look at what's there, that's exactly what the metaverse is. You go there, you're like, it's all hype. There's only 12 people here, etc. But that's the difference between a visionary and just a commentator, you know, just the cheap seats sitting around, not building anything, just, you know, commenting on the headlines of the day, etc. I still think that what Mark Zuckerberg and the people that are building in the space understand is 5-10 years from now, like the way that we interact, the way that we transact, the way that we live our lives is going to look remarkably different from the way that it is here today. And it's very easy to take a snapshot of what's going on today and tear it to shreds and just be like, oh, it's not there. Well, yeah, it's not there yet. But I don't think that that's the point. I don't think that's why Mark Zuckerberg renamed the entire company to Meta and is investing billions of dollars into building something. It's not a short-term investment. So anyway,
it's unfortunate because like there are certain successes that lead to that honeypot feature that, you know, people kind of rush in to Andy James's point, either receive VC funding or receive crowdfunding from these narratives that pop up that they're like, okay, Web3 gaming is going to be awesome. But for those of you in the know, you know it's going to take a couple of years, right? It's not going to be here. Well, we're going to raise $80 million and it's going to happen in 65 days and it's going to be awesome. Like all of these things do take time. You definitely see it more in a bear.
Well, I think Andy's was making a lot of great, again, shout out to Andy James. He always brings a ton of value whenever he shows up. And this morning he was definitely doing that. One of the things that he was saying is that his sort of, you know, prognosis or prognostication of where we are is, you know, he thinks that we are still, I think he said about 3 years out, you know, from seeing the light at the end of this tunnel. He thinks that a lot of the investment, a lot of the building that's happening now is at least, you know, 2 to 3 years out. And I don't disagree, right? Like, I think, again, it's like, you know, yes, we'll see some ups and downs. We might even see another bull market before then. Again, a lot of that is tied to the macroeconomic situation. So like the macroeconomics really have to turn around before people are feeling wealthy enough to really start speculating on a lot of things in the space. But we know how development works. You know, you get announcements, you see the big money raised, you get to work, you hire teams, you test, you beta test, you do all this stuff. And then eventually, you know, you start to hit on great use cases that resonate and create products that matter. And, you know, we're seeing that right now, like over the course of just the last year on Polygon with things like Starbucks, right? Like we've been talking about Starbucks for a while and they're just now beta testing some of their first, you know, little things. And before, it's still going to be a while before Starbucks Odyssey is like fully rolled out. They might still change course with it, but it could be another year before Starbucks wants to like fully move this thing to be like I don't know, like a mass adoption or like a main focus for them. Right now, it's just a test. So anyway. Development doesn't happen overnight, and adoption doesn't happen overnight.
I feel like that's a quote for the Bears, kind of what I keep getting back to. Like it's all hype cycle kind of thing in a bull, and people get like really obviously in that cycle they get really excited. Like this is right around the corner. Prices are going up, which people inflate to being or conflate to being like development in a project. It's like, oh shit, this is at $100 from down. I bought it in at $5. That must mean we're doing something. It's like, no, that doesn't mean anything's going on. That doesn't.
Yeah. like shout out Prodigy for keeping you accountable. By the way, when are you gonna hang the elephant, Q?
I don't know. So this is for Baron Batch, who's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Mike Finch who put me on to Baron. I just got another painting from my man Baron, and it's over there in my house somewhere. Maybe
I thought you were going to say the Manny Lynx one.
They robbed me. FedEx robbed me blind for sending that shit across the U.S., but that should be arriving in the next week or two.
But we'll shout out Q. Q, legit patron of the arts over here, really got into it in ETH Denver. And, we had a couple amazing artists come through and do some live painting, including Cake Nygaard and Manny Lynx. And Q actually won the auction on this beautiful Manny Lynx piece. And so pretty excited for him. And again, fun fact, this piece behind me was something that I won at an auction that was live painted at one of our parties at the last ETH Denver. So I think it's really cool actually that both of us now have a piece that we won at auction from a live painting at an event at ETH Denver. It's pretty wild.
That is actually crazy. Manny's raking it in from ETH Denver. I love to see it. Hey, once that Manny piece gets in, I'll definitely show it. Let me show off this Baron Batch real quick. So Pittsburgh's like known for their. Pittsburgh has the most, I think, in the entire world, other than Venice, has the most bridges. So, and they're mostly painted yellow. That's why the Steelers are yellow, and a lot of the teams there are yellow. So it's right here. It's pretty sick.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
You got the
I like
bridge
the colors
here, like one of the mini bridges, and then you have obviously it being yellow, and then the back of that you got the Pittsburgh.
Oh, sick!
And then Baron signed it down here. Bridge to Possible. So,
dude, Q's turning it. Q's turning into a legit art collector right now, and I love to see that, man.
What's that?
I said you're turning into a legit art collector. I love to see that, man. That's really fucking cool.
You rubbed off on me, Gif. You rubbed off on me. All right. So listen, we totally skipped the bag check. I'm gonna fly through this real quick, and then it's gonna lead to Gitcoin NFTs and whether they're a scam or not. So we got a market sentiment at 31, so we're cooling off just a bit. We have been like crabbing, and when I say crabbing, I just mean like up and down, folks. Like on the analytics side for a little while. This is on the 7-day against ETH and against USD. I believe we're down just a tad. Market volume as well against ETH has been kind of crabbing out. We're down significantly in like the last 2 days, it looks like today. So the market's cooling off just a little bit. Let's go down to volume. Gitcoin Grant will probably make an appearance here. Volume over the last 7 days. We got Owls in the top spot. Other than obviously Yuga assets, what else do we have here? Gitcoin, again, making an appearance in 10. And then over the last 24 hours, Gitcoin is going to take up the top spot. Oni Force is making an appearance in the top 10. Pepin,
bro. I flipped 5 of those. I should have kept holding, man. I mean, I did all right because I flipped 5 of them, but like they did all right, man. I'm waiting for the merge VV to pop off, bro.
You in January, Gifted was just like, Biggie Poppins, shout out to Biggie Poppins, wherever you are in the world, said that his New Year's resolution was going to be to just mint one NFT per month, or like one collection per month. Started January by minting like probably the most he's ever minted in his life, and Gifted was on that train as well. So I didn't join that at all with y'all, but yeah, Prodigy, Mutant Ape, skateboard as well.
Dope.
I don't know if y'all have
That's
seen that,
cool.
but he said he just
That's
saw
very cool. Yeah, man. You know what? One of the funny things that we on NFT Live, we have not yet done a deep dive into these new standards, these new ERC standards. So I think it's 4337 is like the newest one that we've been talking about a little bit. One of the interesting new utilities, whatever functions of this new standard is that you can set spend limits on wallets. So I think that's literally, we should call that like the Biggie Poppins feature or something. He needs to start using these ERC 4337 as soon as he can, so he can limit his own buying behavior. But yeah, we're definitely going to dig more into those on future episodes, because there's a lot of exciting developments happening on the Ethereum ecosystem.
Well, the EVM ecosystem as well, right? Like Polygon is rolling out ZK rollups, I think, in the next month. Like they have at least the beta version, I believe, is like the topic right now. So you're gonna have like a more scalable type of Polygon blockchain, essentially, that they're just rolling out in stages, but the ability to be even more transactionless fees, and then even more secure from a zero knowledge standpoint. Like these are all things that are consistently happening. Zero knowledge is like one of the biggest rabbit holes you could go down. I know we talk about reputation all the time. Like the ability to have a wallet that says who you are without saying who you are is actually really dope, in my opinion. If you could attach a reputation score to some of those, there's some negative implications to that, but also some really cool use cases there. But before we get any further into that, we got Gitcoin NFTs. Gif, I'm assuming because you haven't said anything to me about these that you did not get into Gitcoin NFTs. There's a plethora of reasons why this open edition is not one that I'm touching. But
I have been, basically since we got back from Denver, literally just recovering. I've been fucking sick, bro. So I haven't been touching anything because I feel like I'm not fully clear. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in the right headset. I'm groggy and fucking congested, and I don't feel like doing a bunch of trading right now.
And
so basically
everybody stuck by us in that time. Thank you guys for sticking by these episodes. Like even though it's been feeling like shit, and whatever else. But yeah, so long story short, I have stayed out of any of these recent mints over the last 2 weeks, really, because of ETH Denver being out there and then coming back and being sick. So, I actually feel good about that, because it does feel like things are cooling off. And I think you put it pretty eloquently. I forget what you said, but you said like we're kind of feeling the end of this recent sort of pump. I feel like that's where we're at. So to me, I'm totally okay, like kind of sitting by the side right now and like being very careful about what I ape into, what I mint, etc. Yeah, I have to choose my words carefully here. What you have now is, as the bear market continues, more of that player versus player environment. Guys like Mackay, who I'm about to bring up in a second, owning a shit ton of this supply and driving interest and then subsequently dumping a lot of NFTs, that's PvP. And my dude is the most maxed out character in that PvP game, fucking up everybody. This is not a house. This is not a us versus the house. This is now us versus us. Like we are literally fighting each other as collectors to try to flip a mint, and the windows to make money are going to be less and less. So, and you have to be pretty careful here. So we'll get into it. But what's up?
Well, first of all, I love these fucking comments. I love the idea of Biggie getting his own segment called "What's Poppin' with Biggie Pop." Shout out Squashman for that one. I fucking love that. Yeah, and Biggie Poppins is our resident Carmen Sandiego. He's out there traveling the world, traversing all different kinds of things. So I'm excited to get him back in here and hear where he's been and get his hot takes on all of the things that have been happening. But yeah, I don't. One of the things that I like the least about the NFT Web3 space that, obviously we've seen in different ways over the last couple of years, what you're kind of talking about right now, especially during, the dregs of a bear market when things are really slow, is this like, I usually think of it as like the crabs in a bucket sort of mentality, where we're eating ourselves, cannibalizing ourselves, and PvP is maybe a better way to kind of articulate that, where it's like, yeah, you're literally playing a game against your neighbor. You're literally trying to get the money out of their bag into your bag. And there's not a lot of additional liquidity coming in. There's not a lot of new wallets. There's not a lot of new money available. So you're literally just like eating each other alive and trying to get one up on the next person. Yes. And I fucking hate that. It's not my mode of operating. Like I'm here to try and build everybody up and play the game where all tides raise all ships, or whatever the fuck that cliche is. But that's literally who I am as a person. Like I am trying to raise up those around me, because I think that that's how you create a sustainable future for the space, right? Is like we all improve, we all learn together, we all hopefully make money together, and do benefit from the value that's being created in the space. Obviously people benefit at different levels. Like I'm not a communist. I'm not crazy enough to think that equity, like that the same outcome for everybody is the way that it should be. But I do think that if you're participating, that you should also get something out of it, and that it shouldn't just be like trying to eat each other. And anyway, that's literally my mode of working. And so I really don't like when it feels like we're literally just eating each other alive, trying to get one up on everybody. I don't know, just not my way to play.
When the market momentum is tilted in a certain direction, being good, we are all going to win. Essentially, that's like, if you're a momentum play, which is essentially if you're buying into NFTs in a bull market, you're indirectly doing that, right? Like you're longing in an environment where everybody's kind of outside of like really, really scammy projects making money. Prodigy, you are in chat. You made money on a project called Bullseum. I have no idea what the fuck that project even is, but you did a 2x on a project where now in this environment, in order to do a 2x, you have to be, pulling some good strings and having some good things going on. It's just a different environment. And to your point, yeah, we're fighting each other right now. That being said, where we're at right now, it does feel like the momentum of January and February is kind of easing off. If you look at the market, like the suckling a teat of a cow, this is them trying to suckle the last bit of value from whatever liquidity remains in the market. They pulled out the big guns. This is Vitalik's project, people. That is what's being touted. It's in collaboration with Vitalik. You need to buy in. And we're about to get into it. This kind of sums up my thoughts on this. This all Hashbasters NFTs said, did Vitalik drop an NFT? Don't really care. If 670, which represents 7% of the entire supply, is owned by Mackay, Farouk is pumping this on his own timeline. I wouldn't care if the Pope himself dropped the NFT. I will stay far away. And I'll go into a couple things. Like all of this red right here is Mackay Big Brother. Like when we've talked about him on the channel a bunch, all of this red, I don't know if it's selling or buying. We need to figure that out on the NFT Go platform, but it's all volume, and all of this is Jeff. So, there's a lot of red flags. Now, what is actually happening? Here's the front page here. This is essentially a collection commemorating the launch of the Gitcoin, essentially quadratic funding paper that led to the Gitcoin grants program being launched. So if you go down here, via the quadratic funding, they've been able to raise 21 million, 19 million of that going into Gitcoin grants, and Gitcoin grants has been able to fund a lot of different projects. I think even Uniswap itself was funded by Gitcoin grants. So what is this NFT collection? Essentially, if we go into the items, they're all different. Like there's some signed, I believe there's 12 signed editions, but they're basically commemorating the quadratic funding proposal that is essentially having to deal with Vitalik, Joe Hitzing, Kevin Owaki, Scott Moore. Like all of these have their names on it, and it's essentially a collection commemorating the Gitcoin grants launch via quadratic funding paper. It feels like a lot of bright lights that they're kind of shining. They're being like, look, we've got a collection that commemorates this, and Vitalik's involved, even though he hasn't tweeted about it or anything like that. Yeah. That's what's being pumped right now. Go ahead.
Well, I generally just agree with kind of what you're saying in that, like, this feels like, look, maybe this is for a good cause. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say that. So if this is actually raising funds for a good cause, I'm not mad at that. Like, if you're actually helping to fund legit good projects and developments and good people in this space, then hey, more power to them. I'm not mad at that. But as far as like collecting this, why would you collect this other than you're hoping that it's gonna pump? Like you're not collecting it for the art. Maybe you really like the commemorative aspect of this white paper, but like that's not the reason I would normally collect an NFT. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it's far away from the reasons that I would normally collect. I would normally collect because I believe in the product, the project, the art, the artist, the roadmap, the team. Like, there's no team here. Like they're putting the people that wrote the white paper like they're a team, but they're not developing anything behind this project specifically.
Yeah. So Meta Label, it's a platform called Meta Label founded by Y Strickler, who I got to see if they've even tweeted about this. But Meta Label is credited with launching this mint. I don't even know this guy. This is the tweet that keeps getting referenced when it comes back to like this drop, and I don't even know who Harvey Vogelman is.
In collaboration with. It's like they're so, yeah. So I don't know, man. It feels like a stretch for me to be wanting to own one of these because I don't need, personally, I don't have the need to commemorate a white paper like this. So it feels like something that is going to probably go to zero as people just lose the volume and the flipping, like Blur. Like this to me feels like the type of thing that Blur just wrecks the floor of over the next couple weeks. I don't know. Again, we could all be wrong. Nothing we do here is financial advice.
Yeah.
I will say this again. If it's for a good cause, first of all, I applaud that. That's fucking cool. If it is, it does feel unique. It feels different than a lot of other things. I'll give them that. I have not seen a lot of commemorative white paper NFTs like this. So it's unique in that regard. I'm trying to look at the bright side here, Q. But I'm not buying it for myself. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. To the tweet that I pulled up's point, it's like when you have a guy like Mackay owning almost 10% of the supply, and you have a guy like Farouk talking about it, like these are all kind of red flags. And again, if we're in a super PvP environment, these guys know how to play that game, and they know how to get a collection trending. They're using these big words. Just be careful, man. I am never going to look at you negative for making some money, folks. Like unless it's like directly, funding, boiling babies, I will not be.
What about burning raccoon babies?
That's true. I'll talk to Jordan Lyle about that. Jordan, I'm gonna have a talk. Activity wise on this, well, let's take a look and see if we at the price over time here over the last 24. I would almost bet my life that this project just goes, sub 0.1. You see all these sales happening.
That's what I would guess too, but who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe this thing is one of the most important NFTs to ever be minted.
On-chain records celebrating and supporting public goods, open source projects, and the Gitcoin ecosystem. Man, this feels like one of those puppy commercials where they're like, support a puppy today, and it's like, support Gitcoin. You don't like Gitcoin? You don't like quadratic funding? You don't like Vitalik? Are you kidding me?
It's effective altruism or nothing, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
can we look at the owls though, real quick, just to check in on that? Because that's one of the other interesting mints from the last week or so that I haven't bought, but it's the one that I've been like, is this going to be one that actually pumps?
I'm looking.
It definitely did pump. It definitely, dude. It got like over 10,000 ETH on secondary probably at this point.
Yeah, I think if you're holding owls, if you bought in on secondary, that was another ride. Again, these windows get shorter and shorter where you can actually like, if you're looking to flip, the windows are getting smaller. But go ahead.
Well, it's okay. It looks like it's been kind of bottoming out around what, 0.1 right now.
It is at 0.1. Floor is at 0.1.
Is that the floor, and does this have some other life to it? I don't know enough about this project, which is why I just want to look at it, because like I'm kind of considering buying one of these. I don't know why, other than it's like a weird ASCII owl and it just took off and got a shit ton of volume. Like I have no reason to get into this. And I'm kind of looking, I'm like looking for a good reason. Like, should I buy one?
Prodigy's saying, I mean, Moonbirds were like 70 ETH at some point. Anything can happen in Web3, and I do mean anything.
Yep.
What was the Moonbirds like top floor? But anyways, you're gonna buy these? You're buying owls at this point?
I have not committed to doing anything at this point. I am kicking. I'm kicking some tires here with UQ. I'm trying to kick some tires and like see, kick some owls, kick some baby owls.
This has a very Avastars feel. Are these generated like in old school Avastars days? You would just like scroll and they would continuously be generated. I'm not sure that that's the mechanic here, but this is like, where am I even going here? What's happening?
I don't know. I don't know, but these things fucking took off. These things flew. These little owls, these little guys fucking flew, bro.
They truly flew. They did.
They fucking flew. And
then they got clipped. Wings got clipped a little bit. So
not yet, man. Still early. That's
if you're buying at 0.4 here, you're already down like 70%.
That's 0.4. It's 0.1 right now.
Yeah, but there's a lot of sales happening in this time frame. There's a lot of people buying here. Yeah,
that's fair.
810 ETH traded on March 6th. 747 ETH traded on March 5th. Yeah, if you're yeah.
Okay. You don't sound particularly bullish on the owls here.
Dude, this is not an environment unless you're actively trading, like sitting at your computer at 3 a.m. in the morning being like, all right, I'm trading off Mackay Big Brother's tweet here. Here we go. We have 2.5 hours to make this trade, or I'm out 70% on my value, on my entry point.
Prodigy, I haven't bought anything yet. I'm just looking at it. All right. Jeez. So angry. Justin Casey, do you honestly think Nifty Nick is funny?
What? Wait, what does that come from?
I don't know.
What's the context
I'm not
there?
sure. I don't know where this is coming from. But
all right, Gif, I'm gonna ask you a question here. What do the owls have planned here? Is this a aesthetic, like for the art drop that has no roadmap? Don't expect anything. Am I hitting on all the key terms?
Don't ask so many pointed questions, Q. You just get into it because it's fucking weird and interesting. I don't know. Honestly, this is why I haven't bought it, right? Because I don't know enough, and it doesn't seem like a good time to be buying. Anyway, what else do we have to talk about? Let's not keep talking about the owls.
Oh, we're out of here. The only other thing we have to talk about is 12-fold and the art that everyone bought into with this 12-fold drop. They saw one piece of art and said, you know what? That looks like, I don't even know what the next one's going to look like, but 60 grand sounds about right. And that's where we're at today.
I have mixed feelings about 12-fold. I think as somebody who's likes Yuga and is in their ecosystem, I see it as a big W for the space, for them at least, to have a successful drop like this that's art focused, that's on Bitcoin. And look, if any company has the ability to do this unification thing where you sort of cross the bridge and the divide between the Bitcoin maxis and the ETH NFT people, it's Yuga, right? And so to me, this is showing the potential to unify around NFTs across, a chain that has not historically been there. So I think it's actually pretty cool that they've had a massive success. The art is kind of secondary to me. I don't think that's the point. And I think you were making some good points about like the people that are buying into this are just purely buying it for the Yuga name. And like, what does that mean? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Time can only tell on that, in my opinion. I don't know if it's good or bad. It just is what it is. But 16.5 mil on a primary sale on just 300 inscriptions. Pretty interesting.
Here's Schmiggy Figgy creating the collection. I wonder how long this took him, but that not to say that that's the reason behind why something should be profitable. Okay. Look, I like things that move. I'm a sucker for animation. Andy always takes kind of like the, how can I say this? I don't want to have this conversation while he's not here, but like we had a really good combo on 12-fold. And he always kind of takes the pragmatic like business approach where he was like, yeah, Yuga's launching this just to stay relevant. This is why I had such a problem with Gordon leaving, because from his time on the Metaverse podcast, I really vibed with how they thought about the space. And for those people who saw the first ordinals being launched,
is he leaving or is he just taking a step back for health reasons?
Dude, you really want to go there? I don't.
I'm just saying.
Do I have a magic ball? He's gone for now. And here's my point. Kind of threw me off, Gift. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. But Gordon and Garga have ideals that I align myself with as it's related to the blockchain space, right? Like what the original conversations were like happening on Bitcoin and then happening on ETH with the DAO. These are all things that we don't talk about when we're talking about trading and all this stuff, but these ideals are true. So them launching this on the most secure blockchain in existence and launching this on the Bitcoin chain is why I think they went about this. Like they have values of like, let's create art on the granddaddy chain and let's have it live there. Like I don't look at it like, oh, let's take advantage of the hype cycle, even though that it netted to them 7 mil or whatever. Like that's dope.
I think that is part. I think it's all part of it. I just think there's multiple layers here, and I don't think. Again, I think we should be a little bit nuanced about this. They're very smart. I think if anything, the execution over at Yuga has shown that they are pretty fucking smart, and I think staying relevant is absolutely part of it. But there's a lot of other values that you can look at here as well. Not even to mention like the fact that they had just infused like 16 mil, back into their company. So not only is it a moneymaker for them, it keeps them relevant. But to your point, it could also be a very, very valuable experiment for doing other types of projects. So I don't know. I think there's a lot to it. I think it's pretty. I think there's a lot to unpack with it.
This is a dope visual here. This is the market cap of basically the entire Yuga ecosystem.
Wow. Yeah.
CryptoPunks market cap. Okay. See you.
It's pretty crazy that the Bored Ape and the CryptoPunks market cap is almost exactly even.
Okay. Yeah, that is kind of weird. This is also on February 27th. So I think this was ordinals. This is ordinals before 12-fold came out. Okay. So, gotcha. I'm interested in what's happening in chat here. We're about to sign off, folks. Usually, again, I think in a normal environment, we're not still kind of recovering. Today is the first day where I kind of feel like 90 to 95% back. Like I feel kind of like Nifty Q.
That's good.
Usually we go 2 hours. I think we're gonna cut again today a little short. Next week, hopefully, we're back in Adam when it comes to having our short episodes, Jacob. But what the hell is happening in chat right now? What's
I don't know, man.
Justin and Marty are getting after Nifty Nick here over at the Nifty portal. What's the context there? What?
I don't know. I can't comment on all that. But appreciate y'all for getting after it. This chat's been pretty lit today, and it's nice to be back with you, Q. I'm still not feeling 100, but I definitely feel a little bit better than I did a couple days ago.
Left Action House is saying NFTs were the star in the last bull. ICOs are the star in 2017. What will be the star in 2024? That is the question.
Gaming?
That is the question. But
we know it's only a matter of time until there's a game that actually pops off. There's going to be something that pops off.
Mm-hmm.
So gaming is going to have a big moment. It's just a matter of when.
There's a little bit. I'm not going to break this down into the pieces that I want. I think we're at the end of the show, but like ICOs existed and then didn't. So like having that conversation is kind of tough because like that's assuming that NFTs go the same route, and that's not the case at all. So having it within that timeline, ICOs don't really exist today. That doesn't mean in 2024 that NFTs are not going to be a thing. That's the primary difference there in those two cycles, is that NFTs are still going to exist.
Doesn't mean that they're the star though. See, I read that as just like, what's the focus or the hype cycle, right? Like, so I don't know.
Yeah, when I see that, because of the experience there, it's like I'm saying like, okay, NFTs aren't going to be a factor in 24.
That's what that way.
Really?
Yeah, but no, I think it's more like, look, because I agree with both of you. Like I don't know that that NFTs will be at the forefront of the conversation. Maybe there's a new star. Again, maybe it's just gaming that's like crossing over. It's Web3 gaming, or I don't know. It could be something totally different that like we don't even know about. But I agree with you also. Like NFTs are going to be there. NFTs are still going to be a big part of what we're focused on and what I care about. But so I don't know. I agree with you both. I think you're both making good points. Trying to unify more than divide here.
Yeah, no, 100%. Prodigy saying, what are y'all thinking about a company like Yuga buying, rather than making a whole game, buy out a game and turn it into Web3? I think they've clearly decided we're going to make our own rather than go out and buy. Left Action House.
Well, they're doing both. They've been acquiring Meebits and CryptoPunks. Like they might also acquire some as well. I wouldn't be surprised. They're making money hand over fucking fist.
Left Action House saying, I think NFTs will be here for sure. Just think it will be something else from Web3. Well, if you want to follow the traditional narrative hype cycle and roller coaster ride, we're on to AI. So it's going to be AI in 24. Come on now.
Well, the other thing is sports, bro. I'm actually kind of bullish on Super Rare. I need to get more into that. So rare. Because I think, again, that's one place too that like once you have that use case that like really works, that like has that product market fit, I think sports NFTs fucking fly. Mm-hmm. And we've already seen the potential with NBA Top Shot. NBA Top Shot hit at a moment, had a product market fit that mattered at that time, and they fucking flew. There's just so much money in sports and in sports gambling and in fantasy sports, and there's such hardcore communities around that type of shit that, dude, like I am super fucking bullish on sports NFTs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get behind that. Get that. My biggest thing with this combo is like there is going to be the Starbucks, the fantasy football, the sports collectibles that I don't think are going to net us the returns that we're maybe like some of us are here for.
May or may not.
100x may.
Yeah.
I just
I think it'll be a smaller margin. Like what I mean is I think you're right that like the sort of average will be lower, but I think there will still be like the top 1% to 2% that get the super rares. Yeah. And so you'll still have some of those stories, but it might not be as evenly distributed and as common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I can get behind that. I believe that.
Who is Makai Big Brother? That's also like I'm curious about. You keep referencing this.
Yeah, so I say Makai because and I guess that's not the way you say it, but Makai is Jeffrey Huang, who, and I'm probably butchering that too, but he created Cream Finance, which was like a really volatile DeFi farm essentially. So Cream is crypto rules everything around me. And it was like, it had this really cool branding and he made a fuck ton of money. Cream has gotten hacked like multiple times or had been hacked. I don't keep up with Cream Finance these days, but he's just a whale, bro. He's just like on the level of like Jimmy and a couple other guys. He's just a huge whale. I think from Cream, he caught multiple NFT collections and was able to, 10x his bag and all that stuff. So I don't know. What is the right way? You say Makai. Matchy? It's kind of lame.
All right. Well, it's been fun. It's been good. Another week in the bag, Hugh. We fucking survived. We barely survived this week.
Yeah. That is one way to put it. Okay, before we leave, I'm done. I'm completely done. How do you say this? Here's Makai's Twitter profile. 100,000 followers, again, mostly from the Cream Finance days, and now he's in the NFTs. How do you say it? Tell me, Marty. I'll be waiting. Makai, buy my ape for $1 bajillion. I think he was doing that too.
Shout out. Also, you were talking about 100 Thieves. We have not yet seen 100 Thieves really get deep into the Rocket League esports yet, but FaZe Clan has been doing really well. FaZe Clan is now one of the dominant North America Rocket League teams. So pretty cool to see FaZe doing well in Rocket League, and I'm curious if 100 Thieves is gonna try and compete.
Gaming has always had the problem of not making much money, like the gaming guilds. I mean, I like this. I like where this convo is going. It's like maybe gaming guilds are gaming guilds, gaming teams, esports, and
slash
NFTs.
DAOs. I mean,
Yes.
Dude, imagine what it can look like when you as a fan of a team can also participate in that in new ways through a DAO structure. That's a really big, bold idea that like I'm sure some people are already experimenting with. Marty says machi. Really? I feel like I've seen several platforms already where they're trying to create this model of sort of like a guild, Web3 guild / DAO, but I don't know if it's been well implemented yet. Like I can't think of any that are run that way that have like crossed over into mainstream, competitive, whatever. But I think that's a really fascinating proposition potentially to fans to get involved at a deeper level and have maybe some kind of ownership over their favorite fucking team. Again, as a gamer, if you're investing all your fucking time, energy, and resources in supporting a fucking team, wouldn't you love to actually have some kind of like tangible assets or ownership involved? Wouldn't you? Yeah, you're fucking repping it. You're supporting it. You're watching the game, them play games all day. You're fucking buying skins and shit. Wouldn't it be cool if there was like additional rewards and like ways to own a piece of that? Yeah, Green Bay Packers is I almost brought that up. It's a great example, right? Green Bay Packers are fan owned. It's like there's an example of a model. Anyway, all right, good talk.
No, this is good, man. I obviously like a really jam-packed week just coming back from ETH Denver. I'm sure we'll have continued, convos. We haven't even talked to Ronan about ETH Denver, who was out there. So I'm excited to.
Who plays today? LCS BB. All right, playing today. There you go. You got some League of Legends to watch, Q.
Marty saying last time I did that, I got rugged by WAGME United.
Oof.
What a great way to end today's episode, talking about last place relegation zone WAGME United here. Man,
it's a fair point. It's a fair point.
If you think you're having a bad year or a bad week or anything like that, imagine being an English League Two team fan. Your grandparents' have been fans of this team. An American group from NFTs came in and bought it up and now it's set to be relegated. Think about those guys.
I feel for them, but I feel even more for the project's founders that have taken on this remarkable responsibility, and it's just not going well. It is just not going well. It is literally the type of like nightmare fuel that like would like if I think too much about it, I won't be able to sleep for like fucking days or weeks. It's rough, man.
All right, folks. Listen, you have a great rest of the week. Hopefully, it's a lot better than the founders from WAGMI. RAP, yes. But yeah, have a great rest of the week. We will be back next week, Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Got a lot of good things coming from the network. We're starting back up some podcast interviews. Gifted.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what we have to say about that on Monday. Y'all have a great rest of the week and weekend. Our Vibe, our tribe. Thank y'all for showing up. Again, it means the world. If you haven't liked it, do leave a like. We appreciate y'all.
Our Vibe, our tribe.